Good morning, and thank you for joining the AMCHAM Doing Business in Korea Seminar 2021. This is a hybrid event being held in person and streamed online. Now, to begin our program, I would like to invite Mr. James Kim, Chairman and CEO of AMCHAM Korea, to come to the stage to deliver the opening remarks. Please give Chairman Kim a warm welcome.
Good morning. Thank you so much for coming to our third annual Doing Business in Korea seminar. It's really exciting to see so many prominent leaders from both the US and the Korean government, many business leaders, and obviously it shows you how significant Doing Business in Korea seminar is all about. We have obviously a physical audience today, limited because of COVID, but we also have a couple of hundred people joining us virtually. So I think this is a real terrific session. I want to start by thanking His Excellency Yoon Huduk, the Chairman of Strategy and Finance Committee of the National Assembly. Obviously, the job he has is really, really important in the Korean government. So thank you so much for coming. Her Excellency Myung, the Minister for Trade. I think we all know that she has been a powerful advocate for free and fair trade. And obviously, because of all the great work she's done, she has attained a significant global profile. And I'm so happy that we've had such a long-standing relationship. And we should all be very grateful for all she's done for US, for Korea, and for AMCHAM. We also have with us Dr. Kim Sung-jin, the Foreign Investment Ombudsman. As you know, he has helped resolve many issues for American companies. Quite frankly, if there's a problem here, it's because he's not doing his job. But so far, we like him. So thank you very, very much. And of course, one of our most important guests here in the room, the Honorable Robert Rapson, Chargé d'Affaires at interim at the U.S. Embassy Seoul. I think one of the most frequently asked questions is, when is the new ambassador coming? But for me and for Jeff and for many of us here, we don't like that question because we want to hear here as long as possible. So again, thank you so much for being here with us today, Rob. Your participation in today's seminar is truly meaningful. And I think your show of support is deeply encouraging to all companies who invest and do business here in Korea. It also demonstrates that US and Korea have a very special bond and a strong commitment to doing business together. Last month, we witnessed the first summit between President Joe Biden and President Myung. I think it was a powerful affirmation that the central role that trade and investment play in our bilateral partnership. I know that our Chargé, Rob Rapson, and his team at the embassy played a major role in making that event so special. In particular, I think it's noteworthy that Korean companies committed nearly $40 billion in investments that I think will deepen the relationship between the two countries. Today's seminar is focused on how we can take our economic partnership to the next level by making Korea not just a great place to invest, but make it the #1 destination for US companies' investment in the East Asia region. The COVID-19 pandemic has changed the way we do our business. It has transformed the way companies structure supply chains, utilize technology, manage their employees, and approach government relations. I think that this is the time for Korea to seize this opportunity to emerge as a business and investment hub for Northeast Asia. Now is the time to do it. Also of significance is the importance of ESG. And I want everyone to know, and this is, again, something that the leadership from the U.S. Embassy and AMCHAM talked about, the importance of ESG. I can tell you that AMCHAM is all in on ESG. So thank you, Rob, for bringing that to our forefront. Today's seminar is going to feature an outstanding lineup of speakers from a lot of our member companies. Qualcomm is here. Subway, one of the best subway countries in the world today, 450 stores. Purser Kelly. Yimi Jun is one of our most prominent board of governors, and she continues to do an outstanding job with Kelly. Dell Technologies, what an iconic American company, Dell Technologies. They're here as well. And one of our newer members, UPS. I think that we can also help UPS really extend its branding and its image here in South Korea. And we have the country manager who's going to speak about UPS today. Obviously, all of them are major stakeholders in the Korean economy, and they want to share their insights and learning here in South Korea. So I'm certain that today's webinar will be additive and value added for a lot of you learning about Korea. But let's not mince any words. We want to help make Korea a top investment destination here in Asia. And with the right format, right structure, and the right partnership, I'm 100% confident we can all get there. That's why I'm so happy we have, Trade Minister with us. This is her primary job, and we're here to support you. So thank you so much. We have a great lineup today, so I hope that you can all stay tuned. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Kim. Now, I would like to invite His Excellency Yoon Huduk, Chairman of the Strategy and Finance Committee of the National Assembly, to come to the stage for congratulatory remarks. Please give him a warm welcome.
우리 제임스 킴 회장님이 워낙 영어를 잘하셔서 저는 비교가 되질 않아가지고 우리말 한국말로 하겠습니다. 예, 안녕하십니까? 국회 기획재정위원회 위원장 윤우덕입니다. 제 고향 제 지역구는 경기도의 파주입니다. 판문점이라는 곳이 있습니다. 2019년 6월 30일 우리 남쪽과 북쪽 그리고 미국의 대통령님이 모이셔서 세 분의 정상회담이 있었던 역사적인 장소 판문점이 있는 그런 그 파주입니다. 거기서 왔습니다. 내년 6월 30일에는 다시 제 고향 파주 판문점에서 남한과 북한과 그리고 미국의 바이든 대통령님이 모이셔서 평화협정을 체결하는 역사적인 그런 날이 오기를 간절히 소망합니다. 예, 제3회 암참 국내 기업 환경 세미나에 참석해 주신 모든 분들께 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 오늘 뜻깊은 자리를 마련해 주신 주한 미국 상공회의소 제임스 킴 회장님 그리고 관계자 여러분들과 또 자리를 함께 해주신 산업통상자원부의 유명희 본부장님 그리고 로버트 랩슨 주한미국 대사 대리님께도 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 지난 5월 문재인 대통령님께서 미국 순방을 통해 조 바이든 대통령님과 첫 정상회담을 가진 바가 있습니다. 코로나19 발발 이후 우리 대통령님으로서는 첫 해외 순방이었고 첫 번째로 마스크를 쓰지 않은 그런 회담이었습니다. 문재인 대통령님은 바이든 대통령님을 비롯한 미국의 새 정부 인사들, 지도자들과 만나 한미 양국의 70년이 넘는 동맹을 더욱 굳건히 했습니다. 작년부터 이어진 코로나 위기 속에서도 한미 양국은 서로 문을 닫지 않았습니다. 서로 방역을 도왔으며 교류와 교역을 유지해 왔습니다. 또한 반도체, 배터리, 통신 등 포스트 코로나 시대를 이끌어갈 산업들에 대해서도 양국의 기업들이 아주 성공적인 협력을 해내고 있습니다. 미국과의 동맹과 협력은 대한민국의 생존과 지속적 발전의 가장 중요한 요소입니다. 그 중심에 여기 계신 기업인들이 위치하고 있다고 생각합니다. 대한민국은 이미 아시아의 비즈니스 중심지입니다. ICT 보급률, 연구개발 역량, 인프라 구축도로 대변되는 대한민국의 기술력은 우리의 가장 큰 장점입니다. 또한 트렌드에 민감한 소비자와 높은 생활 수준, 그리고 뛰어난 인적 자원과 뉴 미디어 환경은 수많은 글로벌 기업들이 한국을 매력적인 시장으로 여길 만한 요소들입니다. 저는 오늘 이 자리가 아시아 비즈니스 허브로서 대한민국의 매력을 확실하게 확인하는 자리가 되기를 기대합니다. 암참 회원사 기업, 그리고 또 기업인 여러분, 또 대한민국에서 사업을 하고 계시는 전 세계 기업인들께 대한민국이 더 많은 사업 기회를 제공하고, 그리고 또 함께 발전할 수 있기를 기대합니다. 그리고 그런 노력과 내용들이 오늘 세미나에서 많이 말씀되어지기를 그렇게 기대합니다. 그리고 오늘 세미나에서 논의되는 다양한 의견들을 저희 당, 또 저희 정부에서 잘 수렴하고 좋은 정책과 그리고 또 제도 개선을 통해 여러분들의 사업, 그리고 여러분들의 대한민국에 대한 애정을 더 돈독히 해나가는 그런 자리가 되기를 기대합니다. 함께 노력하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Chairman Yoon. Next, I would like to invite Her Excellency Myung Hee, Minister for Trade, to come to the podium to deliver congratulatory remarks. Please give her a warm round of applause.
Good morning, everyone. 안녕하십니까? 먼저 세 번째를 맞는 암참의 기업 환경 세미나 개최를 축하드리며 글로벌 기업인 여러분들이 함께하는 귀중한 자리에서 축하의 말씀을 드릴 수 있게 되어 기쁘게 생각합니다. 아울러 행사를 준비하신 제임스 김 회장님과 또 바쁘신 와중에도 참석해 주신 윤유덕 의원님, 그리고 로버트 랩슨 대사 대리님께 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 내외 귀빈 여러분, 어느덧 코로나19로 인해 움츠렸던 글로벌 경제도 곳곳에서 회복의 움직임을 보이고 있습니다. 특히 한국의 경우에는 무역과 투자 모두에서 코로나19의 조기 극복 신호가 관찰되고 있습니다. 그러나 아직까지 글로벌 통상 환경의 불확실성이 여전한 가운데 기업 환경도 여전히 녹록지 않은 상황입니다. 아시는 바와 같이 보호무역주의가 국제적으로 확산되고 있고 세계 주요국들은 포스트 코로나 시대를 대비하는 비대면 경제와 디지털 혁신을 가속화하고 있습니다. 또한 글로벌 기후변화 문제의 해결을 위한 탄소 중립 경제로의 전환이 요구되고 있습니다. 특히 코로나19에 따른 공급망 단절 경험으로 인해 공급망 위기 관리와 안정성 확보가 글로벌 통상 환경에서 주요한 이슈로 부상하고 있는 가운데 한편으로는 메가 FTA 추진과 이 WTO로 대표되는 다자체제의 복원에 대한 논의도 진행되고 있습니다. 이렇게 코로나 팬데믹과 미래의 불확실성이라는 어려운 가운데 이중고를 겪으면서 세계 경제와 기업인들은 일찍이 경험해 보지 못한 상황에 직면해 있습니다. 이러한 어려움을 극복하고 포스트 코로나 시대의 새로운 도약을 위해서는 혁신과 소통, 연대와 협력이 절실히 요구되고 있습니다. 한국 정부 역시 포스트 코로나 시대의 글로벌 경제의 상생과 성장을 위해 힘쓰겠습니다. 먼저 한미 간 협력 및 파트너십을 지속 강화해 나가겠습니다. 최근 한미 양국 정부는 정상회담을 통해 양국 간 파트너십을 강화하고 아태 지역 영내 협력 의지를 재확인한 바 있습니다. 한미 양국은 코로나19 및 향후 전염병에 대한 공동 대응을 위해 백신 등 보건 분야 협력과 대응 체제 공조를 약속했습니다. 또한 첨단 기술 분야의 협력을 강화하기 위해 양국 간 기술 투자를 장려하는 한편 공급망 안정을 위한 상호 지원에 합의한 바 있으며 분야별로 협력 채널을 구성하고 이에 관해 앞으로 긴밀히 협의해 나갈 것입니다. 둘째, 지속 가능한 성장을 위한 전 세계적인 연대와 문제 해결에 앞장서겠습니다. 글로벌 경제의 지속 가능한 성장을 위해 국제사회의 공동의 노력과 협력이 그 어느 때보다도 중요하다고 생각합니다. 국제사회의 공동 목표인 탄소 중립을 위해 국가 간 인적 물적 자원의 공유와 제도의 공조, 그리고 관련 분야 기술 협력의 확대 등 다방면에서 협력을 확대해 나가겠습니다. 셋째, 한국이 동북아 비즈니스 허브로 자리매김할 수 있도록 지원하겠습니다. 한국은 지난해부터 디지털 뉴딜과 그린 뉴딜을 주축으로 하는 한국판 뉴딜 정책을 추진하고 있습니다. 코로나19로 인해 비대면 디지털 경제로 급속히 전환되는 가운데 한국은 IT 강국으로서의 강점을 활용하여 사회 각 분야의 디지털화를 선도함으로써 그 역할이 더욱 커질 것으로 기대하고 있습니다. 또한 그린 뉴딜 정책을 통해 저탄소 친환경 에너지 인프라를 구축하고 차세대 에너지 산업을 육성함으로써 탄소 중립 사회로의 전환을 주도해 나갈 것입니다. 이러한 정책들을 통해 글로벌 기업에게 새로운 비즈니스 기회를 제공하는 한편 한국이 동북아 비즈니스 허브로 도약할 수 있기를 기대합니다. Build Back Better, 즉 더 나은 재건, 이는 지난 G7 정상회담의 주요 테마였습니다. 이제 국제사회는 코로나19로 침체되었던 경제의 포용적 회복과 성장, 국제협력을 통한 번영을 위해 함께 노력하고 있으며 이러한 국제사회 노력에 한국도 기꺼이 함께할 것입니다. Before closing, let me say a few words in English. First of all, taking this opportunity, I would like to thank AMCHAM and businessmen here at the seminar for your valuable contribution toward promoting trade and investment between Korea and the US. And I'm convinced that today's seminar, doing business in Korea seminar, will not only help further strengthen the bilateral partnership between Korea and the US, but also help facilitate a more sustainable business environment around the world through international cooperation and solidarity. Thank you very much. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Minister, for those remarks. Next, we will hear from the Honorable Robert Rapson, Chargé d'Affaires interim at U.S. Embassy Seoul. Please join me in welcoming Chargé Rapson to the stage.
여러분 안녕하십니까? 미국 대사관 대사대리 랍슨입니다. 반갑습니다. Good morning. Hi everyone. I'm Rob Rapson, Chargé d'Affaires at the U.S. Embassy. It's great to be here. Representative Yoon, Minister Yu, Jim Kim, members of the AMCHAM. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you today at this important and timely Doing Business in Korea seminar. In the era of COVID, though, it's not so often we get a chance to get together in person like this, so I'd like to express a word of appreciation to the organizers for taking all the necessary precautions to make this event possible today. So thank you, AMCHAM. Thank you, Jim. It's been only several weeks since President Moon traveled to Washington, D.C. to meet President Biden in the White House. And what a meeting it was, what a summit it was. One of the best and most productive summits I've seen in a long time. And I've been watching US-ROK summits for a very long time. President Moon and President Biden pledged to strengthen the US-ROK alliance and partnership to broaden the focus, to address issues of critical importance to the Indo-Pacific region and the world. Commercial and economic cooperation now has emerged as a key priority as our two countries work together to promote solutions to global warming, fighting the pandemic, and to address critical supply chain issues. It was noteworthy that Korea is one of the few countries specifically mentioned in the recently released White House supply chain report, which outlines a pathway forward in 5 critical sectors. Also at the summit, the U.S. Commerce Secretary Raimondo hosted a roundtable business event with President Moon, Trade Minister Moon, and a select group of CEOs from Korea and the U.S., which highlighted the great opportunities that lie ahead in our economic partnership. And as you also saw, President Biden asked those same Korean CEOs to stand and take a bow at the White House press conference, which I thought was a remarkable gesture, which reflects really the importance of Korea itself, but also of Korea's import as an economic power and an investing power. Despite the negative effects of pandemic globally, Korea remains, as Minister Yu pointed out, a leading economy and a top destination for American companies. Moreover, Korean investment in the US continues to surge, and in particular, led by those companies that were in Washington last month who made investment contributions of well over $25 billion in critical fields such as EV batteries and semiconductors and others. One other note I'd like to point out was we recently completed, and I think many of you in the room may be aware of this or participated, we just concluded the 2021 Select USA Investment Summit, another summit, virtual summit. We had 3,400 participants globally from 80 international markets, and a very impressive delegation from Korea, 47 companies strong, 18 of which were startups. And one of the Korean startups in particular, an outfit named D-Tonic, actually won the Asia Pacific pitching competition at the virtual summit. They went out and pitched their service and product and won against a very competitive field. I can't tell you exactly what D-Tonic does. It's something in the geospatial digital plane, but it certainly is a valuable product, and we wish them the best of luck as they look to market their product. And on that note, I'd like to give Greg Briscoe and the FCS team a big shout out because they, over many months, put that Select USA Summit Korean delegation together and included the pitching competition as well. So thank you, Greg. Thank you, FCS, for your work on that front. As we look forward and begin to move beyond the pandemic, though, I'd like to briefly highlight the growing importance of e-commerce. Korea's online retail and cross-border e-commerce has seen significant growth over the last 5 or 6 years. And this new selling channel is really is how we are doing business more and more. However, as our economies continue to converge, the need for good regulatory practices and cooperation in areas such as the digital economy become even more important. And Minister, you touched on this in many respects about the importance of the digital economy going forward. Open dialogue and consultation with the businesses that are driving the transformative economy are critical to ensuring that governments do not create new regulations that effectively create barriers to digital trade. Overall, we at the Embassy and the US government are fully committed to growing our economic and commercial partnership with the Republic of Korea. Working together in coordination with AMCHAM and others, we aim to ensure resilient supply chains and the competitiveness of our industries, especially in emerging technologies that are the heart of innovation and in sectors that are critical to the future of our economies. So in closing, and I can see we're behind schedule already, in closing, thank you again for inviting me here today to this really timely and important doing business and seminar. You couldn't have picked a better moment to do it. And of course, thank you for all your hard work that you do, all of you, AMCHAM and others do to contribute to our strong and enduring Korea-US partnership. So again, I wish you a very successful seminar. Thank you for having me. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Chargé, for those remarks. For the next part of our program, we will have a scene-setting presentation, which will be delivered by Mr. Jeffrey Jones, Chairman of the AMCHAM Board of Governors.
감사합니다. 많이 나오셨네요. 오늘 특히 윤 위원장님하고 유 장관님 그리고 샤르제 랩슨 오셔서 우리한테 큰 영광 주셨습니다. 감사합니다. 진심입니다. 오늘 많이 나오셔서 좀 반갑네요. 우리가 직접 이렇게 모이는 게 오랫동안 못했고 여러분과 함께 이렇게 같이 모일 수 있는 게 참 기쁩니다. 오늘 Doing Business in Korea's 우리한테 다 중요한 제목입니다. 우리는 여기서 먹고 살고 애들 키우고 세금 내고 합격하고 우리 한국 분들이 자주 하는 말이 우리나라라는 말씀 많이 하시는데 한국에서 살고 있는 외국 투자자들이 특히 우리 AMCHAM 회원들이 똑같은 감정 느끼고 있어요. 한국이 우리나라입니다. 그래서 그 제임스 킴도 미국 시민관이고 저도 미국 시민관이면서도 물론 미국에 대한 애정이 있지만은 저희 한국에서 살면서 한국에 대한 애정과 확실한 우리나라라는 감정 받게 됩니다. 그래서 우리 그 여기서 한국 그 AMCHAM의 가장 큰 목표가 그리고 우리 그 하는 일이 미국 투자자들이 한국에 많이 와서 성공하고 한국 기업이 미국 가서 많이 투자하고 많이 성공하고 그렇게 함으로써 우리 두 나라 크게 발전할 수 있는 그게 우리 가장 큰 목표입니다. 그 오늘 그 내용 뭐 많지만은 저희들이 사실이 그 지난 몇 주 동안 몇 주 아니고 몇 달 동안 한국이 허브 만들려고 합니다. 그래서 이 여러 이 태평양 지역에 보면은 한국, 일본, 홍콩, 싱가포르, 중국 여기 여러 나라 비교해 보면은 한국이 사업 환경이나 여기 이 사업 분위기 사실이 그 우리 지역에 있는 나라보다는 훨씬 더 경쟁성이 높습니다. 저희 AMCHAM Board of Governor 지금 30명 CEO들이 계시는데 이 30기업들 다 대리하는 CEO들이 한국뿐만 아니라 태평양 지역에 아시아 지역에 담당하는 책임 있는 사람들이 많습니다. 지금 우리 30명 중에 한 그 3분의 1 넘는 숫자입니다. 그래서 그런 게 보면은 외국 기업들이 이제 한국의 이 한국 시장이 중요성 인정하고 그리고 이 한국 시장이 중요성 인정하면서 여기서 가장 훌륭한 사업가 보내는 거예요. 그럼 가장 훌륭한 사업가 보내니까 이 지역의 모든 그 자기네들이 사업을 담당하는 사람을 보내게 되래요. 그래서 사실이 그게 보면은 한국에 얼마나 중요한지 우리가 다시 한번 느낄 수 있습니다. 그래서 한국이 굉장히 좋은 사업 환경 갖고 있고 다만 언제나 다만 있죠. 또 좋게 만들 수 있어요. 또 훌륭하게 만들 수 있어요. 그게 우리가 욕심입니다. 제가 한국에서 50년 살았던 사람인데 한국에 처음 왔을 때 비교해 보면은 지금하고 그때하고 같은 나라 아니에요. 얼마나 훌륭하게 발전했고 얼마나 잘 먹고 살고 그때 새끼 먹기 힘든 시절이었는데 지금 우리가 다 다이어트하고 있습니다. 그게 큰 차이죠. 근데 또 좋게 만들 수 있어요. 또 훌륭하게. 우리나라 그 모든 분들이 좀 더 좋게 살 수 있는 분위기 만들 수도 있고 환경 마련할 수 있어요. 그래서 오늘 세미나를 통해서 앞으로 우리가 할 일이 어떤지 앞으로 우리가 이 사업 환경 개선하면서 조금 더 훌륭하게 만들 수 있는 이야기 나올 겁니다. 그래서 여러분 오늘 이렇게 참여해 주셔서 감사하고요. 특히 장관님하고 우리 윤 위원장님 너무나 감사하고 그리고 언제나 Rapson, we love you. And thanks for being with us. 감사합니다.
Thank you for those remarks. For the next part of our program, we will have a fireside chat on Korea's role in corporate regional strategies. For this segment of the program, The moderator will be Mr. James Kim, Chairman and CEO of AMCHAM Korea. Our panelists will be Dr. Kim Sung-jin, Foreign Investment Ombudsman of KOTRA, Mr. Jae Yoo, Area Managing Director, North Asia of Johnson & Johnson Medical Korea, Mr. Spencer Kim, Head of Sales CS of Qualcomm Korea, and Mr. Colin Clark, Country Director of Subway International BV.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael. First and foremost, thank you so much for joining this panel. I love the diversity here. I wish we had a female leader with us, but that's not the case today. So that's a miss. But we have vaccines to sandwiches, right? And we also have chips, microchips, right here. So it's a pretty good diverse crowd. You know, before I start, I'm again so thankful for the three speakers we have with us today. I thought they really summarized the importance of U.S.-Korea relationship, and thank you so much, Rob. But I think in particular, our chairman of the board of governors, Jeffrey Jones, his tone setting or scene setting is very, very important because of all the foreigners who have, started here in Korea. I think Jeffrey Jones is a true iconic representative of the bond that exists between U.S. and Korea. So I'd like to give Jeff a big round of applause for what he's done for both countries. Please. So let me start with our ombudsman. And I've already said it before, but he does an amazing job helping us. In fact, every time one of us calls him, he is ready to act and help us. So I'm very thankful for all he has done. So my question to you, Dr. Kim, is could you tell us more about your mission as the Foreign Investment Ombudsman and how you continue to accomplish your tasks?
Thank you very much. Actually speaking, with the cooperation of AMCHAM, especially James Kim, we are doing our job in a very productive and efficient way. I'd like to take this opportunity to all the members of AMCHAM that we are helping in a very cooperative way. Thank you very much. Okay, let me speak this way. Foreign Investment Ombudsman was established in the year of 1999, October 1999. It was right after the crisis. We call it foreign exchange crisis. Internationally, it's named Asian financial crisis. We need every single dollar. We are in dire need of foreign capital. That's one thing. And the second one is that we came to think, what could be the main reason that we have this kind of national difficulties? We found out that the deterioration of competitiveness is the main factor of our crisis. So we decided, the government decided, we look into all the policy guidelines, policy matters, rules and regulations that hinder competitiveness. So our main direction, the government policy direction was to increase competition by market opening and liberalization. That was a policy objective. As a kind of this kind of objective, we introduced Foreign Investment Promotion Act, and we introduced many kind of investments, inducement schemes. And one of that, we established Foreign Investment Ombudsman. This is really a Korean creation. There's no Foreign Investment Ombudsman anywhere in the world. This is purely a very peculiar, very unique, very creative one by Korea. What is Foreign Investment Ombudsman? In other countries, if you have some kind of problems with the governments, go to the court. That's the answer. In Korea, we established this kind of system. If you have, you means foreign investors or foreign enterprises. If you have any kind of problems in terms of your business or in terms of your living conditions, you can go or you can consult with a Foreign Investment Ombudsman. Then the ombudsman look into the matter with the help of his staff. We have several expertise people, which we call the home doctors. They look into the matters, and if we have the conclusion that there is some kind of, if the investor's argument is right, then the ombudsman communicate with the relevant ministries or government agencies and solve the problems. This kind of problem-solving method is the very first one in the world, and this has been working very effectively with no cost at all and with a very short period of time. For these reasons, international organizations such as the World Bank or UNCTAD and some other international organizations such as WIPA, they concluded that Korea's foreign investment ombudsman system is the best in the world, is the unique, is a kind of high-tech problem-solving technique in the world. For these reasons, there are many countries such as Russia, Brazil, India, and many other countries are benchmarking Korea's ombudsman system. But up until now, the ombudsman system, they are not 100% benchmark, just for my view, just 50 or 60% copying our system. And as a matter of fact, of course, I have some limitations as an ombudsman, because ombudsman is an independent person from the government, even if I have been commissioned by the president himself. I'm not a government employee, because if I am a government employee, I have to belong to a specific ministry. So my role is very constrained. For this reason, I am purely independent from the government. That is a very good specific. But in other sense, it has some kind of limitation, because in Korea, according to the constitution, the president and each ministry has legal power to do something. So the role that I can do is to advise my counterparts, advise ministries or agencies to do this way. But if they do not accept my advice, legally speaking, I do not go anywhere further. The only thing I can do is to publicize their opinion and their reason. That is their headache. Okay.
Thank you very much for, I would say, a very detailed answer. But in a nutshell, for the companies that are here today, if you have a problem, let him know, and he will try to find a way to resolve the issue. And we work very closely together as a partnership to make those things happen. So next question, Jay, is for you from J&J. Besides running Korea, he runs some other countries in Asia as well. I've known Jay now for a while, and he really does a great job running J&J here in Korea. You know, you've been here in Korea. You also studied in the U.S. So
That's correct.
what do you think are the competitive advantage of Korea for Johnson & Johnson, and how we can leverage what you have done here to make Korea a regional hub in Asia?
Thank you, James, for the opportunity and question. I can only talk about the perspectives from healthcare industry. And if you look at Korea, and moreover, Asia Pacific overall, I think multinational healthcare companies are investing more in Asia Pacific region due to the obvious reasons, right? The future growth and innovation need to come from Asia Pacific. This is a matter of their global success. And when it comes to Johnson & Johnson, Korea has strategic advantages in major three areas. The first one is world-class surgeons and physicians whose clinical outcome is one of the best in the world. And the second reason is a quality and quantity of data that is accumulated in major medical centers as well as national health insurance system. And lastly, the proven record, the track record of adoption of digital technology.
because future healthcare products are more and more converged and integrated with a sort of the digital ecosystem platform. So those are the three areas where healthcare really see a huge competitive advantages in Korea.
Thank you, Jay. My next question is for Colin from Subway. I think a lot of you have seen Subway on on the kinds of social media, even Korean dramas. And Colin's been in Korea for around 20 years. He speaks fluent Korean, and Subway is one of those restaurant chains that are doing really, really well here. I think under his leadership, you guys have grown faster than most countries in the world today. Uh, so, Colin, what is the secret behind Subway's success in Korea? Because I know that's a very special part.
Thank you, Jim, for the kind words. I think there's a few things. Korea has a great business environment, and first of all, I think Subway has a really good proposition for Korean customers. If you look at Korean customers from the time they're born until the time they die, a lot of their life is planned out for them. All the students have to be in school and they're told what to do all day. But you get to go to Subway and choose everything. And a lot of people are scared of the questions they get asked when they come in and order sandwiches. But after they learn how to order Subway, they really enjoy the ability to choose. And then you can make healthy choices. So I think that's a big driver for us on the consumer side. On the franchisee side, Subway has a reasonable return on investment, but it's very stable and safe. And when you combine that with Korea is full of entrepreneurs, like it really has an amazing entrepreneurial spirit among people, especially after they work for large companies and then they retire and they're looking to do something else. And then even there's a lot of young people who want to skip that altogether and go straight into business for themselves. And we've really been benefited by franchisees who work in the stores all day long, who love making sandwiches, love working with customers, and love working with us. And so being able to provide them a pretty good return on investment, but then also being able to utilize them to grow the business. And over 50% of our new stores every year are now multi-unit owners, where one franchisee is opening another store and a third and fourth store. And I think we have maybe 7 or 8 people that have over 6 or 7 stores as a franchisee. And so it's great to see the business grow, but it's a great business environment, great franchisees, and then really great customers.
I think Colin's being a little modest, but he really runs one of the most successful Subways in the world today. And I think part of it is because he has invested in Korea personally. He knows Korea, and his leadership has really helped transform Subway prior to him taking over. So I think the role of management and leadership plays a key role. Now let's turn to Qualcomm. As you know, your country CEO, O.H. Kwon, is someone who is a vice chair of AMCHAM, very visible. He does so much for the U.S. Korea community, and we're very thankful for his leadership. But thank you for joining us today. Obviously, we all use Qualcomm's technology to some degree.
Thank you.
So, how does Qualcomm's investment in Korea? I know you have 400 or 500 people here. How does your investment in Korea fit into the company's global vision?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So Qualcomm's innovative and passionate corporate culture is very similar with the culture of Korea IT industry. So it's so natural, our investment in Korea, to be the number one player in globally together with Korea. So you can see the example. As you all know, the CDMA collaboration with the Korea partners was the most successful and successful initial investment that Qualcomm made. And that's not stopped there. It's still ongoing. So even today, there is a 5G evolution that we're making together. So it's so obvious that the Qualcomm must invest in the Korea and keep going on the success together going forward.
And also, what I truly appreciate about Qualcomm's leadership is when their global CEO comes to Korea, and it's quite often, that's really what I call proactive leadership and engagement. So I've seen that companies who have top leadership visit Korea more often is a real key to success, I think, in Korea.
Yes, it is true. So even after the COVID-19 pandemic, the first customer that our CEO visited was the Korea business partner. So it tells a lot. So remember that we have 3 or 4 decades that we spend with the Korea key business partner, and that will going on. It's more like a strategic partnership. It's not a transactional partnership at all. So we'll continue that relationship with the key Korea business partner.
And it's always great to see your CEO, Mr. Roman. He's paid us a visit at AMCHAM, and it's always an honor and a pleasure to really, discuss business, here in Korea. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's go back to the ombudsman, and I'd like you to summarize very quickly for us what the Korean government is doing to help make Korea a real regional hub here in Asia.
Okay. I can say that we have tried to develop our country more attractive for investors, all through the every administrations. But I can say that officially, the government decided to pursue the strategy to become Korea as the business hub of Northeast Asia in the year of 2002, right after the presidential election. At that time, Myung was elected as the president. And Myung put forward a more specific plan that we should pursue the policy of making business hub with regard to financial hub, logistics hub, and R&D hub. And he pursued that policy in a very strong way for his term. But unfortunately, after Myung administration, new administrations didn't pay much attention to that national agenda. So nowadays, the only remaining agenda that he proposed is the phrase of making Korea as the financial hub in the region. That's the only remaining agenda right at this moment. But I can think that if we look back, what is the current status of this new financial hub catchphrase? I think many people are not feel so satisfactory. If we look back, if we look the number of financial institutions that are working in Korea, in terms of banks or insurance companies or asset managed companies, the number has been decreasing continuously. And if we look into the global financial index rankings, the ranking is consistently decreasing. The ranking was, in the year of 2015, was number 5 or 6, but nowadays it's number 16. So frankly speaking, the catchphrase of making business of North Korea, not North Korea, making business of Korea in the Northeast Asia is not so prevalent nowadays. So I'd like to thank you that we have to make this opportunity to revitalize that old catchphrase again and reboost our catchphrase in a very strong way with the governments and with the foreign investment communities.
Well, I can tell you that when I look at the representation of the Board of Governors, maybe around 10 board members are actually running the region from South Korea. In fact, We have Jay from J&J running a big part of Asia from here. We have Conan actually running Taiwan from here. We have Disney head on the board. Luke Kang runs entire Asia from here. We have 3M. Jim Fontesiak also runs a part of the Asia business from here. In fact, sitting here, we're going to have the CEO from Persor Kelly speak. I know Yumi Jun also runs a part of Asia from here. So I can tell you that American companies are trusting more leaders here to run Asia right here from South Korea. So Mr. Ombudsman, let's help create the best possible environment so that more senior executives can come to Korea, be here more than 5 years without some of the tax considerations, and run it from here. So we need your help with that. Okay? Now, thank you. I want to talk about SMEs, and this question goes to you, Conan. I know that you talked about the franchise model, and that's a lot of SMEs, right? So what is it like working with SMEs in Korea versus possibly SMEs in other countries? And what are the key challenges and benefits of the Korean SME environment?
Yeah, so first, I think it's large and diverse. Like if you look at our franchisees, we have old people, young people, men, women, people that had long professional careers, people who are just barely starting out. And so that is one really nice thing about Korea, is that it's an open business environment, and anybody could be a franchisee and really run it. I think a lot of the times people don't look at opening a business as an SME as being a distinguished thing to do. If you look in the U.S. and some of the other markets, they have people who become multimillionaires off of running SMEs and growing it slowly. And I think there needs to be a lot more focus in Korea on the ability to help somebody grow from just one store to multiple stores and really become rich that way, and see that as a lifetime career rather than just as something you do once you retire from business. Because that's the main group of our franchises, is people who did something else and then came into the business. But there's a lot of opportunity for people who want to start out early and continue to grow. One other thing I think is I would really love to see a more communicative business environment. Right now, what happens a lot of the times, if the franchises have a complaint against us, is they don't talk with us. They'll go to the KFTC, or they'll go to some other government institution to get help. And then we go through a long process of these long discussions and lots of legal work to come up with a solution that we could have come up with if we just sat down with each other. And so I almost wonder if, like in the Ombudsman office, if there couldn't be an opportunity to, if somebody files a complaint, then maybe just get the people together with the company and talk it through first, before any formal proceedings go on, to just really allow for more communication between a company and a franchisee on equal grounds. And I think that's the main thing, is that people probably suspect that corporations are big and evil and don't want to communicate very well. But actually, if you can solve a problem quickly and easily by communicating, I think nothing's better than that. And with the SMEs, it's vital that we communicate with them and create an environment that they'll be happy. And then if they're happy, they keep investing and opening more Subway stores. So we're more successful too.
And I think that's why you guys have been successful, because of the open communications that you as a leader have endured here for Subway. So thank you, Colin. Going back to Jay, what are some of your current initiatives, along with the opportunities and challenges you're seeing in Korea today? Obviously, this is an open forum. There's media present.
Sure.
And we have the ombudsman sitting right here. So this might be an interesting dialogue.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, it's very encouraging to hear actually Dr. Kim's comment just before, because you just mentioned about those 3 hubs, and logistic hub and R&D hub. That is an opportunity that I'm actively looking at. And also, we have some of these successes because of those 3 competitive advantages I mentioned before. we have been hosting some of those global R&D functions here in Korea. For example, like global clinical operations and health economics team to generate evidence for the world. And also we opened up a satellite office of the Global Innovation Center here in Seoul to connect local entrepreneurs to the global team. But our journey does not really end there. My ultimate mission is to make Korea be a test bed of the global early innovations here. And just for example, like the 3D printing R&D hub, or the software as a medical device R&D hub, as well as the regional training centers for that. But to really make that happen, right? I think Jeffrey just mentioned Taman, right? But I think there are a lot of things that we really need to do together, because I am in healthy competition with my fellow operating companies located in China and Singapore. And I have to say that actually their success rate is a little bit slightly higher than us. So how can we really overcome that? I think we really need a more robust, close collaborations between AMCHAM, policymakers, and the multinational companies together to come up with a very strong, pinpointed competitive value propositions and promote it. And secondly, there are multiple challenges that we need to overcome together. I'm not going to go into the details, but there is a regulatory environment that sometimes hinder for us to actively engage with our corporate partners there. So there are some areas that we're going to continue to work on together.
If I take a look at one of my visions, and Jeffrey Jones and I have talked about this many times, we would be extremely ecstatic if every one of our board members at AMCHAM Korea were the heads of Asia. And I think that leadership is getting there. I'm seeing much more talent with leaders here. So why couldn't the head of the Asian or the Korean operation in Korea become the head of the whole region? And I think that's what we want to aspire to be and be very helpful. So my last question, and this we have limited time, and this is for Qualcomm. How can we help make Qualcomm Korea be the regional hub in Asia? Clearly, OH is a great leader. Your CEO likes him. So what can we do to help you become the regional hub here in Korea?
Thank you for the opportunity to answer this question. So I want to point out one thing. The 5G millimeter wave enables much faster data rate compared to that of the 5G sub-6 in Korea right now. It's more like 6 times faster than 5G sub-6, 60 times faster than LTE. So that 5G millimeter wave could provide unimagined experience to consumers. So the millimeter wave services are available in the United States already, followed by the Japan. And then next year, we're expecting the 5G millimeter wave deployment from Russia, Italy, Singapore, and hopefully from Korea. So it will be great to have a strong support from Korea government and operators to support on the Korea SMEs to build and test their millimeter wave capable device in a real commercial services, because those experience and reference can be very helpful for the SME to export their millimeter wave capable devices outside of Korea eventually. That is the very good and great point that we need the support from the Korean government and operators. So look forward to having the strong support to our Korean SMEs to be successful in the global competition overall and be very competitive versus other regional competitors. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And just in closing, I want to again thank all of you for participating in this panel. I'm also extremely appreciative of Rob Rapson, Greg Briscoe, and the team from the U.S. Embassy for sitting through, listening to the different companies' perspectives. And I know that the Korean government is important to help us make Korea a regional hub, but the leadership of the U.S. Embassy team is also going to be very important, because as we go through some sensitive conversations, I think their leadership will be very, very helpful. So again, thank you so much for sitting through this panel. We have more happening today. I know that a few people have to go, but thank you so much. Let's make Korea a real solid regional hub here in Asia. Thank you very much.
Thank you to all of our panelists for that great discussion.